The world has enough fakes. It has enough counterfeits and imitators. It's time for us to stand up and become exactly who and what we are. In this video, I share with you why this is perhaps the most vital step we can take and how you can do it. This is spiritual actualization. I'm Will Rucker. I've got my green tea. Let's get into this. I meet a lot of people. In the line of work that I'm in, people are literally my business. And so I've gotten pretty good at being able to tell when people are being themselves. And in the positions that I hold, a lot of times people become intimidated or try to put on an act or put on airs for me, trying to impress me or get something out of me. I don't know what it may be, but I always see through it. And one of the things that troubles me most is the fact that I even have to spend energy discerning whether people are being authentic or not. I mean, being ourselves is literally the easiest thing in the world to do. And it's also sometimes the most difficult. Becoming who you are is the most important thing you can do, not just for yourself, but for the world as a whole. We need you to be yourself. And who are you? Well, I'm going to tell you in a minute in case you've forgotten, which most of us did when we entered this realm. We forgot who and what we are and why we're even here. And we spend a lifetime searching for it. We call that the search for purpose or the search for meaning in life. And that's really what spirituality is. Spirituality is simply the path of the heart. It is living our purpose out loud. You know, I don't really care what people's religions may be. I rarely ask them, what religion are you? I mean, if they are on a panel with me or something, I need to know so we know what we're doing. But generally, I'm not concerned with whether you worship on Saturday or Sunday or worship at all. What I want to know is how your beliefs express themselves in the world. What do you do with your religion? Like what you believe, why that matters, and it absolutely does matter because our beliefs do shape our reality and ultimately they shape how we interact with the world. But a lot of times we claim belief in things that we don't truly believe. We claim a faith that doesn't fit, and that's the label we wear. I'm a this because that's what I was born, or I'm a that because that's the region I'm in, or I need to be this because that's what most people are and that's how I'll fit in. I don't care what your religion is. I care about how you treat other people. I care about how you treat yourself. That's really it. Like, what does that mean? So understanding the authenticity piece is huge because a lot of people are inauthentic, particularly within their religious setting. I come from Christianity. I've got my cross on today as a decoration, and it's one of those things where church folks are fake. Like that's not a derogatory statement. It's not judgmental. It's just a statement of observation. It's fact. Like church folks are fake. And that's overly general. I get that. I'm generalizing. I'm kind of making light of it. But it's really serious. Understanding that Sunday morning is not only the most segregated time of the week, but it's the time where people experience the most anxiety. I know for years I was always wondering, is this the Sunday the Holy Spirit is going to move and call me out for being gay? I always wondered, like, is this the Sunday? It never happened, by the way, like never once. And every time the pastor did preach to me or call me out for something, it was, you're so anointed and God is going to use you in a mighty way. I remember one pastor told me, one prophet, I don't want to call him the wrong title. But one prophet told me, I was overseas doing a camp or something like that, a spiritual camp. And the prophet of the night came to me and said, you're going to be with people like T.D. Jakes and Noel Jones. Those are really popular black preachers. And, you know, they're well known in the region I was in. You're going to run in those circles and you're going to revolutionize the world. And he just kept going on and on and on about how amazing my ministry was going to be. And at the time, I thought that was going to take me into Christian ministry. And I was like, yes, this is confirmation. I'm doing good stuff. And I was doing good stuff. But that's not the direction that I've ended up in. And I still believe that he saw something. But what he saw was also clouded by who I was portraying myself to be. I certainly wasn't there as an openly gay man. as someone that didn't necessarily think anyone was going to hell. Like I didn't share that publicly. And of course there is a time and place to share certain things. I'm not saying go into the daycare and then do the naughty. That's not what you want to do. But by the same token, you should be your authentic self in every environment you enter. One of the best things you can do in life is get comfortable in the skin you're in. And know that if you are in a room, you deserve to be there. You're meant to be there. You should be there. And you should be there as your authentic self. If I had been who I was long, long ago, I would have made it so much easier for those that came behind me to be who they are. If those that went before me had been who they are, it would have been so much easier for me. I was very good friends with some popular gospel singers who are as gay as the day is long, but they're closeted. Some were divorced. They had wives in the past, so that was their cover. Some, felt a calling from the Lord to be single. That was their line. All kind of stories we created to stay safe. And that is a survival tactic. And it's also not spiritual. I know, that's harsh, right? But it's not. It's anti-spiritual. It's inauthentic. It's fake. And we have enough fakes in the world. We have enough counterfeits. We have enough folks imitating each other to last eternity and beyond. And I see this in spiritual circles too. On Instagram, so I'm on Instagram now. Follow me at Will_Rucker. I would love to connect with you there and see your posts and pictures, get to know you a little better. You also get content from me on a very regular basis. I say that now and I'm like, well, we'll see how it goes. How about that? But follow me on Instagram. But anyway, I see people on Instagram that are quote unquote spiritual, and then I go to their page and it looks just like someone else's. And I don't mean it looks just like formatting, because there is a format that you can follow to just make your page viewable and easy and enjoyable. Like, I get that. But what I mean is their content looks just like someone else's. The words they choose, the way they phrase things, the ideas, it's pure imitation. And I know that because I've been in this world a long time doing this work. So I'm familiar with a wide array of spiritual teachers, both in the traditional Christian setting and outside in kind of new age or new thought or spiritual living, that kind of thing. I know a lot of folks, and I've seen a lot of this. And I also follow a lot of people on YouTube and see their content because I want to know what's out there. Who's watching what? I want to know. I want to see what they're sharing. And when I see these people imitating these folks that are successful, I'm like, that's not your voice. That's not who you are. You're trying to be something you're not, because in your videos before you found this new calling, this is how you were. And that was real. And I'm not saying that when you enter into spiritual spaces, things about you don't change and there are similarities between all spiritual people. Like, you'll see similarities. Even in my content, like I use David Hawkins' scale of consciousness all the time. I'm not the only one that teaches that, because I'm not the only one that knows about it, because it's one of those things that's universal. I'm not the only one that teaches from the Bible. You get what I'm saying? But it's that authentic piece. Like, I'm on here with my earrings and my bangles. Like, this is who I am. This is how I express in the world. And I never would have done this years ago. I would never have worn earrings publicly. Like, that was a no-no. And, even, it's so many things. It's so many things that were really hiding who I am. But the moment I released those things, the moment I began to be who I am, the weight just fell off. Life became easier and my consciousness elevated. I didn't have to try to be more loving. I didn't have to try to forgive people so much. It just happened. And that's because that's who we are at the core. I promised I'd tell you who you were in case you forgot. And as I mentioned, most of us do forget on this journey, but you are love incarnate. That's who you are. You are the vibration of love in the universe. That's your essence. That's what you're made of. That's your DNA. You may be African American, but what you really are is love. You may be female, but what you really are is love. Your essence, the core of who you truly are, is love. And love is not just a feeling. Like, love is so much more. You can certainly feel love, and we all want to feel loved, and we all want to give and express love. And that's because that's who we are. But what is that really? It's life. We're really meant to just perpetuate life. That's the whole point of the universe, is to continue. It keeps producing life. And as eternal spirits, that's who you really are. You're eternal, like you're immortal, like you're everything. And I know that may be a lot, but you really are. You are everything. And at the same time, you've chosen to be partitioned into this current piece of everything that you are. And that piece is made from love. If you take a piece of an apple and slice it, does it stop being apple? No, it's still absolutely apple. So if you take a piece of God and you slice it, it's still God. If you take a piece of consciousness and you slice it, it's still consciousness. And if you take a hard drive and partition it, it's still a whatever size hard drive. It just is partitioned. And that's really what this is. We're partitioned to enjoy life in this way and to produce life in new ways and to experience every single facet of life. For God to be infinite, which God is infinity, God has to experience everything. And God has to be everything. Every possibility has to be, because that's what God is. If every possibility wasn't explored, then God wouldn't truly be infinite. It seems simple when you put it like that, but when you say that in a church, that gets kind of woo-woo, and folks are like, whoa, amen now. But understand, it's the truth. It's the way reality works. And I'm so glad that I found that way of expressing it, because it does make it clear for a lot of people. And sometimes when people hear, like even Jesus said, your own scripture tells you are God's, and they wanted to throw him off a cliff because of it. But it's like when you say it that way, people are like, oh, wait a minute, that's too much. But if you just say, what substance are you? And they're like, oh, I get it. And it's true. I mean, that makes it easier, because comprehending who we truly are is big. And that's why I said being your authentic self is perhaps the hardest thing you can do, as well as the most natural. So how do you embrace who you are? Well, first, just recognize and own who you are. Change the frame with which you live your life. Don't see yourself as lacking or needing or less than. See yourself as enough. I am enough just as I am. Say that right now. I am enough just as I am. Change your lens. See the world through that, knowing that you are enough, and knowing that every expression you issue is enough because it's who you are. And you don't have to strive to become. You just have to be who you are. And this authenticity thing is huge because, like I said, it's the easiest thing in the world. Being who you are. You know, at your core, you know who you are. You know exactly who you are. And it's easy to be who you are. The problem is you think who you are is what other people have told you. You think who you are is your trauma and your fear and your mishaps, but that's not who you are. You think, oh my gosh, I've made mistakes, so I'm imperfect. No, that's not who you are. You are absolutely perfect because you are love. If you embrace that, if you own that, then expressing yourself in the world does become easy. And you don't have the same trepidation when it comes to, do I deserve to be here? A lot of people that are very skilled or enlightened face imposter syndrome. Have you heard of that, imposter syndrome? Basically, it's where people don't necessarily feel like they deserve whatever it is they've gotten. New managers often experiences people that get promoted or get TV shows or get a record deal, feel that imposter syndrome. They're like, oh my gosh, they think I'm better than I am and I'm not really that great. But it's the voices of those that have put you down that you're hearing. It's not your authentic voice. You know you're awesome. That's why when people talk about you, it hurts. You're like, wait, that's not who I am. You're like, oh, and some folks get mad. They're like, wait a minute, I'm gonna beat you down. That's not who I am. So you know that you're amazing. You know that. And the other part of this is sometimes we see other amazing people and think we're supposed to be like that. We're like, oh, they're amazing, so that must be what I'm supposed to be. No, you're supposed to be exactly who you are. Be amazing in your lane. There are enough lanes for all of us to be exactly who we are and to collaborate and create a world that really works for us all. I mean, that's what it boils down to. So embracing this new way of looking at things, instead of looking from a lack perspective, look from a love perspective. Another thing you can do is to take this in incremental steps. So perhaps you are African American and you've been wearing wigs to hide your natural hair. Well, maybe instead of wearing a wig, maybe just do your hair to look like the wig a little bit, and then let it be a little more natural, a little more. Or maybe you don't want to wear hair. Maybe you're like, I'm a woman and I want to be a bald woman. Shave it off, baby. Go for it. And be aware that being yourself will cause disruption. People have fallen in love with this false image of you, and it's almost like a death for them. When you release your true essence, it's like the fake you died, and people gotten accustomed to the fake you. They liked that person. But does it really matter if they like the fake you? Is that real love? Are you really being loved? Are you getting what you deserve and what you're worthy of? If they're loving a fake version of you, well, you're not. You're a pretender on the stage. They love the character you're playing. They don't love you. So let them love you by showing them who you are. Well, I hope that you've gotten something great out of this video. I know that you've already hit the like button, but if you haven't, go for it. Hit the like button. Also, I'd love if you subscribe. Subscribe, hit the like button, subscribe, hit the bell, like 3 steps, like, subscribe, bell. You don't have to do all 3, but I'd love it if you did. Because if you do subscribe and hit the bell for notifications, you'll know when I post new content. I post new videos right now every Thursday and Sunday. And then I post throwback videos throughout the week so that you always have fresh content you can glean from. And I so appreciate you watching. I want you to know that this means the world to me, that you spent these minutes with me listening and considering these ideas, because this is what I love. This is who I am. This is how I am able to fulfill my purpose in the world, is by sharing this with you. What I've discovered, this is just my walk. This is just what I've lived and experienced and grown to enjoy. So thank you again for watching. As I always say, you are not just a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean in a drop. I love you. Love yourself. I will see you in the next video.